you. I give the floor now to the representative of Indonesia.
Mr. President, Indonesia would like to exercise our right of reply to the statements delivered by Solomon Islands and Vanuatu, echoed by Nauru, Marshall Islands, Tuvalu, and Tonga regarding matters concerning Papua, a province of Indonesia. Indonesia is shocked to hear that at this important stage, where leaders gather in this august body to address the early implementation of SDGs, the transformation of our collective actions, and other global challenges such as climate change, of which the Pacific countries are affected the most, the said leaders chose instead to violate the UN Charter by interfering in other countries' sovereignty and violating its territorial integrity. We categorically reject the continuing insinuations in their statements. They clearly reflect an unfortunate lack of understanding of the history, current situation, and progressive developments in Indonesia, including in the provinces of Papua and West Papua, and also an unfriendly and rhetoric political maneuver. Their politically motivated statements were designed to support separatist groups in the said provinces, who have consistently engaged in inciting public disorder and in conducting armed terrorist attacks upon civilians and security personnel. Evidently, the statement made by those countries clearly violates the purposes and objectives of the UN Charter and the principle of international law on friendly relations among states, as well as the sovereignty and territorial integrity of states. I repeat, it is a violation of sovereignty and territorial integrity of states. It is highly regrettable and dangerous for states to misuse the United Nations, including this august assembly. These countries are using the General Assembly to advance their domestic agenda and for some countries to divert attention from political and social problems at home. The said countries are also using false and fabricated information as the basis of their statement. The conduct of these countries undermine the UN Charter and are detrimental to the credibility of this assembly. Mr. President, Indonesia's commitment to protection of human rights is unquestionable. Indonesia is a founding member of the Human Rights Council. Indonesia has sat as member of the Council for 3 previous periods and is currently a member of the Council for the 4th time. Indonesia is the initiator of the ASEAN Intergovernmental Commission on Human Rights and OIC Independent Permanent Commission of Human Rights. Indonesia has ratified 8 out of 9 core international human rights instruments, all incorporated into our national legal system. In compared, 4 by Solomon Islands and 5 by Vanuatu. Indonesia is among few countries who have a continued national action plan on human rights and currently is on its 4th generation of the plan from 2015 to 2019. Indonesia has an active and robust National Commission on Human Rights since 1993, vibrant civil society and free media. Indonesia is also a country with full-fledged democracy in function. With such a vibrant national democracy, coupled with the highest commitment to the promotion and protection of human rights at all levels, it would be nearly impossible for any human rights allegations to go unnoticed and unscrutinized. Mr. President, we reaffirm that there are domestic mechanisms in place at the national level in Indonesia as well as at the provincial level in Papua and West Papua. For our part, Indonesia will continue to give appropriate focus to the development of Papua and West Papua provinces, and to the best interest of all. In conclusion, Mr. President, we have a saying in our Asia-Pacific region: when one points the index finger to others, the thumb finger automatically points to one's own face. I thank you.
I now call on the representative of Indonesia.
Mr. President, the delegation of Indonesia is compelled to exercise our right of reply to respond to the statements made by Vanuatu and Solomon Islands, echoed by Tuvalu and St. Vincent and the Grenadines concerning Papua and West Papua. Mr. President, it is one time too many that hoax and false allegations are circulated by individuals that are economically motivated by separatist agenda of Papua and their supporters. Time and time again, the same fabricated and false accusations are thrown at us. These countries are sadly blindfolded. They fail to understand, or more precisely, refuse to understand. The provinces of Papua and West Papua have undergone massive development and progress. During the past 3 years, 4,325 of kilometers roads were built, 30 new seaports, 7 new airports, 2.8 million Papuans have free basic health care. 360,000 Papuan students have free education, with the economy growing at 9.21%. All make Papua and West Papua provinces the fastest growing regions in Indonesia. Mr. President, Papua and West Papua provinces are an integral and sovereign part of Indonesia. They will always remain an integral part of Indonesia. These countries were foolishly deceived by individuals, I repeat, by individuals with separatist agenda to exploit the issue of human rights. If human rights are at the heart of the issue, why were these concerns were not raised in the appropriate forum, namely the third cycle of the Universal Periodic Review of Indonesia at the United Nations Human Rights Council? If Indonesia has anything to hide on human rights issue, in this day and age of open technology, by now everybody will know if such accusations even exist. Mr. President, Indonesia fails to understand how countries continue to support activities of separatism in other countries. Or is this a way to hide from one's own domestic problems? Are these countries' human rights track record perfect? Obviously, their motivation in this august body is to dismember the territorial integrity of a sovereign and independent nation. Such actions are illegal, must not be condoned, and violates the fundamental principles enshrined in the United Nations Charter. We cannot let this happen. We cannot let this continue on. Indonesia categorically rejects all accusations made by these countries and the individuals with separatist agenda operating behind them. Mr. President, I would like to conclude by quoting an old proverb in Indonesia that says, menepuk air di dulang, terpercik muka sendiri. Or loosely translated to, if you slap the water in a bucket, then be careful that the water will splash all over your own face. I thank you, Mr. President.
I now call on the representative of Indonesia.
As an Indonesian with Melanesian roots, I can tell you, we do not like to be clustered, we do not like to be categorized, or worse, divided by another faraway country. Papua is, has, and will always be part of Indonesia. Vanuatu keeps on questioning Papua and its place in Indonesia. Now, let me ask this of them. Have you ever bothered to have a deeper look into the legal and historical facts on the status of Papua as an integral part of the United States of the Republic of Indonesia? If not, I suggest that you read all the historical files. But if the answer is yes, I invite you once again to read all the facts.
It is shameful that this single country continues to have excessive and unhealthy obsession about how Indonesia should act or govern itself. Frankly speaking, I'm confused. How could a country try to teach others while missing the point of the whole fundamental principles of the United Nations Charter? Let me tell them the following. To do what is right is to respect the principles of non-interference in the domestic affairs of other countries. And to do what is right, it is to respect the sovereignty and territorial integrity of other countries. Let me tell them, you are no representation of the people of Papua, and stop fantasizing of being one.